Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Today on Go Island, we're in Qualicum Beach. We're going to check out what's new at the museum. On today's show, paddles up with the New Salon Dragons growing hops on Salt Spring Island, and a new edition of Clocked takes the boys on another grand adventure. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. The Qualicum Beach Museum received a federal grant from the New Horizons for Seniors program. They focused on oral history, and we're going to take a closer look at it later on this edition of Go Island. In the meantime, the Save on Foods Dragon Boat Festival is only a couple of days away. It's taking place this coming weekend in the harbor in Nanaimo at Maffeo Sutton Park. And leading up to that, Jocelyn Matwee spent some time with one of the teams, the New Salon Dragons, who have aspirations that go much farther than Nanaimo. The Save on Foods Dragon Boat Festival runs in Maffeo Sutton Park in downtown Nanaimo, July 5th through 7th. You can get a full listing of detailed events through their website, nanaimodragonboat.com. Some highlights include the opening ceremony, which is changed up a bit this year. It takes place at noon on Saturday, not the usual Friday afternoon. And then the coronation ceremony takes place at noon on Sunday. There's racing all day, both days. And I'm happy to be emceeing both the opening ceremonies and the coronation ceremony this year, so we will see you there. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We've moved inside to the Qualicum Beach Museum, and the result of New Horizons for Seniors project that the museum here received a grant for is playing on the screen behind us. Natanya Waddell is at the museum here, and what is this? What are we seeing?
What you're seeing is the final product of a one-year-long project that encompassed doing the oral histories, or rather capturing the oral histories from 10 pioneers in the area, one of which includes the first hairdresser to Qualicum Beach, who just turned 100 years old in March.
Wow.
And so these are basically two 10-minute videos that are now part of our permanent exhibits here at the Qualicum Beach Museum, and that encompass testimonials from these individuals, as well as archival photography and archival filming as well.
I think nowadays the happenings in day-to-day life that will be tomorrow's history are tracked so thoroughly, digitally and all the social media and all our photo albums and things, but 100 years ago, 150 years ago, it was all orally handed down and not recorded. So getting those stories must be so important.
It is, and especially due to the fact that there is very little written on Qualicum Beach. There's a book out there written by Brad Wiley, who did, make a great effort to try to capture the facts that are part of the history of Qualicum Beach. But really, we don't have much. And here we had the opportunity to get it straight from the people that were living those times. So time was of the essence, and we wanted to get this project going. We were very lucky to get this grant, and we're very pleased with the results.
I've already learned a lot about Qualicum Beach that I didn't know. Someone in your position, maybe you knew it all about Qualicum Beach, or have you been learning some things in the process as well?
I knew some. I'm an archivist by trade, and so I work closely with all the archival records that we have here, so many of which are photos. But when you look at a photo, you don't necessarily know the story behind it or around it. Interviewing people, you get the full picture and the full story. And I often feel that when you interview these pioneers, you get all the different pieces of the puzzle that make the whole picture of the history or the story of the place. And so it's great. Great.
Some things never change. You were talking about sort of a split demographic, how even back then the more affluent, financially secure people would come, the rich people would come and tourist here, and then the other people would do all the labor and the hard work. And
well, it's interesting.
That way today too, isn't it?
Interesting how it developed. But Qualicum Beach was very early on a site that attracted tourists, people that came here to holiday due to the beauty of the area with the ocean side and whatnot. So we early on had that Qualicum Beach Hotel that was built in the early 1910s. But you also had people that came to homestead and farmed and logged, and those people worked really, really hard, and they might have helped in the construction of the hotel, they might have helped in running the hotel, they certainly didn't dine there.
Didn't eat there. Thank you. We're going to come back and talk about phase 2 on the New Horizons for Seniors project that will hopefully be coming right here to the Qualicum Beach Museum in the months to come. And just to note, there is a photo here about what Memorial Avenue looked like back in the day, and it's barely recognizable. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with more on Go Island. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. It is beautiful here at the Qualicum Beach Museum, and I gotta laugh when I see this guy. This is Giuseppe Rote, also known as the Hermit. He was the focal point of a previous edition of Clocked. There was some confusion between him and General Money, and it resulted in a tie. We do have a new installment of Clocked for you later on this edition of Go Island. We'll see if we can stump the boys this time around. British Columbia is not known for having an ideal climate to grow hops, the kind that you use to make beer. Well, there's some folks on Salt Spring Island who are finding success. James Green stopped by. Still ahead today on Go Island, handcrafted ales on Salt Spring Island, glass blowing in Duncan, and will they beat the clock this time? That and more is still to come today on Go Island. Yeah, I think a beer would go down pretty well right now. So would a trip to Salt Spring for that matter. I have just added some to-do things for my summer agenda. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Summer has definitely and absolutely and finally arrived here in central Vancouver Island. And just in case it wasn't hot enough for you, Karen Elgersma thought it would be a good idea to visit a glass blowing studio near Duncan. It's big summer. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're inside the Qualicum Beach Museum at a new permanent exhibit called The Oral History of Qualicum Beach. It's the result of a New Horizons for Seniors program federal grant. Part 1 of what is hopefully 2 phases are 2 10-minute videos, the second of which is playing behind us right now. Nathaniel, what is the significance of the Qualicum Beach Hotel in the history of Qualicum Beach? Because it's got its own category.
Well, the Qualicum Beach Hotel was built in 1911, and it was ran by General Money, who also built the Crown Mansion we know today. Right. And that was his house where he lived with his family, his wife and children. And so this hotel was a great destination for many Hollywood actors of the time, as well as Governor Generals in Canada through the years. It was just...
Rita Hayworth being one of them, and Bing Crosby.
The King of Siam even came to the Qualicum Beach Hotel, which was, you know, hard to believe by many of the residents that lived here at the time that this place was attracting all these very notorious people.
And is that hotel open now?
No, the hotel was unfortunately demolished in the late 1960s.
Okay, I'm thinking I'm mixing the buildings up. The hotel was just off the side of...
The hotel would have been located sort of just below the museum right here on Beach Road. The golf course was already attached to it at the time, and actually one of the houses on West Crescent is built on the foundation of the pool.
Wow. So much history. Phase 2. You're going to be applying for a second part to the New Horizons for Seniors program from the federal government. What are you hoping to do when that happens? Because it will happen.
Well, it was such a successful and exciting project, and proved to be so useful and needed at this time. So we're hoping to do a phase 2 that will encompass taking in the oral history from the First Nation elders in the area. They were the first inhabitants, and so, as I say, we'll capture that story and put all the pieces of the puzzle together, make it a complete picture.
And a very different undertaking. It's going, I would imagine, of a very different feel, a very different energy, obviously very different results, perhaps more challenging to put together.
Perhaps more challenging, but we'll do it in a very respectful, very kind manner. It is I think to everyone's advantage, including the First Nations themselves, that we can capture this story, and it will be audiovisual, so something that can be used and by them and by us here at the museum and enjoyed by everyone, and perhaps answer some questions and clarify some points for everyone.
Thank you for inviting us
Thank
today.
you, my pleasure.
Getting more and more knowledge on Qualicum Beach. The 100th anniversary of the Qualicum Beach Golf Club is this month as well, and we were there last week on Go Island. It's time to throw things over now to Derek Johnstone and Todd Jones. It's another edition of Clocked. They're getting pretty cheeky. They keep winning. Let's see if we can stump them this time. I thought that one would get you guys for sure. 1 minute to spare? Yeah, right. Who was watching the clock on that one? Jose? Anyways, good job, guys. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. The Qualicum Beach Museum is in its summer hours now, 11 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. You can check out the new permanent exhibit upstairs, an oral history of Qualicum Beach, the result of a grant from the federal government, New Horizons for Seniors project. The DVDs are available for purchase in the museum as well. Look for Phase 2. That's it for me. You can tell when I start talking really fast that I'm running out of time. We'll see you next time.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.